Hello there, Leo. Think of June the 3rd through the 9th. I have already cleared your deck of cards for your reading. I'm just putting the final shuffle on before we actually start putting them on the table to see what comes up. What you guys need to know while I'm shuffling is that this is a general reading, and so not everything that I see here will apply to every single Leo who watches this reading. You may want to check your rising sign and your moon sign to get more information, or if you would like to schedule a private reading, all you have to do is contact me with my contact information, which can be found on my website. And my website is www.amista.info. Once you get a hold of me, then we can usually get you scheduled for something very quickly. Okay, so Leo, what do we have coming up for you guys for this week? These are just general themes, everybody. Okay, so the first thing that I'm looking at talks to me about your environment. And your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. Usually it shows up as home, but sometimes it can be work or school, etc., etc. So, Leos, what I'm seeing about your environment is right now you have a lot of responsibilities, and it seems like the responsibility of doing what you need to take care of that environment or to be in that environment seems like a heavy load whenever we're looking at this week. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about your subconscious leanings, Leos. There is somebody who is on your mind. This is a person, and it's somebody who is very much in charge. For some of you, this is going to be a female, or for some of you, this will be a male. I've got about a 50-50 split on that. But this person is somebody who is in a position of authority in your life, and it's somebody who you're working on, you're thinking about them on your subconscious because this person is somebody who's really kind of hard to deal with. There's someone who basically, this is more or less my narcissistic person card. This is somebody who changes the goalpost all the time. They twist the truth. They are not above any kind of manipulation. They may even be gaslighting you. This is somebody who really just does not play fair in any type of situation, whether it's relationship or work. And anything that goes wrong, according to them, the fault is always somebody else's. It's never theirs. And in this case, with them coming up so strong on your subconscious, it may be that they're trying to blame you for something you are working on at a subconscious level. How am I going to deal with this person? What am I going to do about this person in my life? Should I walk, if it's a boss, you're going to be thinking, should I walk away from my job? Are there coping strategies I can use to deal with this? What am I going to do with this? Okay. So subconscious is working on how to deal with this person with narcissistic tendencies that shows up in your life, whether it's at work, at home, in your family, whatever. Your subconscious is working on, we need a solution here. Let's find it. Okay, next thing we're looking at talks to me about learning style and also communication style, Leos. So, learning style. I think right now there, or at least during this week, Leo, there are some bits of information that you would like to have, some things that you do want to know. But I also feel like you're so close to the situation that it's like things are right under your nose and yet you can't see them. You can't see the forest for the trees. So you're having a hard time seeing the big picture because the little picture is all smashed right up in your face, Leo. So for learning style, it's a little bit frustrating right now because you do want to know some things. You're having a hard time getting that perspective to be able to figure what those things are that you need to know. Now, the next thing coming up off of this card is communication style. Leos, I think your communication style this week may be pretty aggressive. It may be that the things that you are saying are hard for the other person to hear, and you may be saying them in a hard way. It may be that you're feeling very fired up or emotional about whatever it is that you need to say, and so you're throwing it out there in a fired up and emotional way, and that is really making it come across even rougher than what you're feeling it. And I feel like some of you are feeling this. It's pretty rough energy that you're communicating to start with. All right. Next, I'm looking at work. And so we look at how you make a living first, and then we look at inner character work next. So for how you make a living, it looks to me like there is some kind of rebirth or restart of something. So it may be that you've just gotten a new position in the same industry that you've worked in for a long time or that you've worked in before. It may be that You've just gotten a new position at a place where you've worked for a long time or where you used to work. It may be that there's a new project that maybe was on the shelf and now is coming back to life, a new contract that maybe was off on the shelf and now is coming back to life. But there's something going on with work where um, something old is being restarted or reborn again. Okay. As far as inner work, that's interesting. It looks to me like you have recently learned some kind of personal lesson, Leos. And I think your personal lesson has you in a situation now where you've learned it to the point that logically you know how things need to be, but emotionally you're not necessarily ready to go into that logical good space. And so the work right now is to sort of get mind and heart in the same place as far as this lesson so that it's not so tempting. I feel like it's really tempting to go back into an old situation that wasn't so good for you, whether it's in your personal life or work life, or maybe it overlaps even for a lot of you. But you don't want to go back into that. And yet, at the same time, even though that's less than ideal, it is where you feel comfortable. You feel like you know your way around there. You know how to make that work. So the inner work that you're doing is trying to keep yourself from falling back into old patterns or old behaviors that were not serving you because logically you know they weren't serving you, even though emotionally they felt comfortable because they were what you got used to. Okay. Somewhere in time. Oh, well, thank you for the verification. I appreciate that. Nice to see you in the room, too. I don't know if I've seen you in the room before. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about that part of your personality that's being grown or expanded during the week, Leos. Now, remember, we had your communication could be a little bit aggressive or abrupt. It could come across in a harsh way. I think that that part of your personality that's being grown or expanded right now is that part of your personality that needs to say, this is the way it is. And if this is the way it is and it totally shakes everything up, then I'm sorry, but this is the way it is. And so I think you're coming into a place where you're not afraid to shake things up. You're starting to see where things do need to be completely shaken down to the rubble and restarted. And you are coming into this place of, okay, well, let's start shaking it down to the rubble. I'm going to start focusing on that because I'm not happy with how things are now. The only way I can be happy is if we get some kind of new, more solid foundation. So let's start shaking this thing down so we can get down to the foundation, redo it, and start moving forward again. So you definitely are shaking things up. And I think a lot of it has to do with what you're communicating and your communication style as you're communicating it to the people around you. It's your first time. Oh, well, I'm glad you're here. Fantastic. Okay, so then the next thing that I'm looking at for you, Leos, are you a Leo somewhere in time? The next thing that I'm looking at for you, Leos, is something that you stand for. And so, what's going on this week, something that you're standing for, is your own self esteem, your own self worth. You're realizing, hey, I am worth something here. And that can be really difficult too when you're dealing with somebody who has narcissistic tendencies, like we saw in your subconscious leanings. So, this is a big deal. And also, if you're causing these big shakeups, I'm just now tying this together with the narcissistic person. If you're causing these big shakeups, it could be that you're just standing up for yourself for what's right and reasonable and rational. And this other person is totally flipping out because somebody who has a strong narcissistic tendencies can't handle somebody else actually having something go their way if it doesn't totally agree with them. And so this would be you shaking things up. You're like, you can act all this way all you want when you're not around me, but it doesn't work here. Okay. And so you're standing up for your own self worth, your own self esteem. You're like, hey, no matter what you say, I know that I'm worthy. I know what I bring to the table. I know that I'm cool. All right. And so you're having to stand up for yourself in that. With a Virgo moon and Virgo rising. Wow. Double Virgo. Well, glad you're here. Okay, so the next thing that I have coming up talks to me about how other people perceive you. And usually this is the person that you had to stand up to. This is how that person perceives you. So now, la da da da. What we have coming on here is that the person that you stood up to sees you as somebody that you were actually like holding back for a while. Like you were waiting to speak your truth for a while. You weren't trying to rock the boat for a while. You weren't trying to shake things up. And now they're seeing you as released. Like let the dogs out because Mr. or Ms. Leo is shaking things up now. All right. So they see you as you've been released. You've released yourself to start shaking things up because you want to see these improvements. And so they see you as having turned yourself loose here. I think this is a good thing. It's good that somebody can respect that. Hopefully your narcissistic person can respect that. That may be a strong hope though. All right, so the next thing that we're looking at is pivotal experience during the week. This is where the energy starts to shift is as you're going through this pivotal experience. So what I'm seeing here, Leos, is you're coming into a place of frustration and where things are not falling into place for you like they normally do right now. And this is, not hard to see why this is going on. If you're dealing with somebody that's narcissistic and you're shaking things up, all of a sudden everything that was smooth and peaceful and sort of kind of halfway working, although when you've got a narcissist person in the picture, nothing's ever good enough. Whatever was sort of kind of halfway working isn't going to. You're going to be getting a lot of lashback from your narcissistic person if you're shaking things up. And it's going to make it really hard for you to make progress and move forward. And so that's what we have going on here. We're having you coming into a frustrating time where things are not moving forward the way that they should be. At the same time that this is going on, you are doing things to counter this. You have good ideas how to counter the situation and how to balance it out and bring it back into something that's good for you. And part of those ideas have to do with sharing advice with other people, maybe even with your narcissistic person that's here in the picture somewhere, but definitely sharing advice with other people. You may be sharing coping tips with other people who have to deal with this narcissistic personality so that they can cope in a way where they can keep their saneness and their rationality as well. Even with that going on, though, I see this as a really frustrating time for you because while you're maintaining your self esteem, and I'm really proud of you for this because I think this could be a ridiculously difficult time to do that. I also see that you're starting to feel stuck. You're starting to feel like you're in prison, like you don't know really, like you're running out of ideas about how to deal with this situation. Okay. And so that's where we end the week is like, you have started shaking things down to the rubble and now you're getting all this backlash and things are starting to get harder and harder to do because of the backlash. And so, even though you have some good ideas and you're passing along good ideas, I still feel like you're stuck. You're not at the destination here where you actually find the solution. You're still kind of stuck. And when I tell you that you're stuck, this is a special kind of stuck. This is a stuck that is your own perception. It's in your mind that you're limited here. If you can look at the situation from another perspective, you'll be able to see how you can come unstuck. For a lot of you, if this is a boss, the way to come unstuck from this is get into a different department or get a whole new job at a whole new place. This guy or gal is not going to be changing anytime soon. They don't know how to. You have to be the one that changes, and it may take you actually coming into a completely different environment to find your sanity back. Okay? Ricky, hey, hey. Wow. Well, I have to say I admire you. It's not easy to stand up to somebody with narcissistic tendencies somewhere in time. So there we go, Leos. That is your reading. I hope that you find it helpful. And yeah, I hope you find it helpful. Everybody have a fantastic week. Don't forget if you'd like to have a private reading or if you'd like to have a private Reiki session, I'm available for those. All you have to do is reach out and contact me for that. And my website where you can find my contact information is www.amista.info. I-N-F-O. Let's see, what else do you need to know? Have a great week. I'll see you guys the next time. Peace out.